Yep, 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 yep,
Hi, this is Rich Nelson of Escape to Suomi, and welcome to a very special edition of the Finnish Football Show podcast. This episode, I spent about half an hour talking with Finland captain Tim Sparv about the upcoming European Championships, his time in Denmark, and life as a footballer in general. Hopefully you'll enjoy the episode, and I've put links to various interviews, photographs we talked about, and events in the show notes. Thank you for doing this. I really appreciate it. I'm sure you get a lot of these requests.
Yeah, I mean, it's getting more frequent. I mean, I'd say the last year, I've noticed how the interest, the media requests have increased rapidly, and I mean, it's both. It's usually only positive, because I do like to use my platform to share some of my opinions. So it's mostly positive.
I suppose, obviously, your English is, it's probably better than mine, to be honest, but I guess your ability to speak the different languages and communicate makes a big difference. I mean, not just as captain, but I guess as spokesman for the team, really.
Yeah, it does, and I think that's maybe something we're going to discuss as well. But the role that I have, and it's been exciting, to say the least, because it's not only about making sure that the team performs on the pitch, but it's all those things around it as well. All those extra activities. Being that link between media and the players, being that link between the association and the players. So it's been really interesting.
Whenever you go back home, you spend a lot of time going to see junior football, and I know you've got a lot of involvement in Vasa doing their youth. And was it selling your hoodies and contributions?
Yeah, and maybe the most important thing is that I mean, the way I want to give back are these small artificial pitches. I've donated one to my old school in Oravais, and the second one last year to a school in Vasa. So that's maybe my way of giving back. But yeah, I mean, youth football in general is something I'm really, really interested in, and hopefully, after when I hang up my boots, that I can get into maybe helping some of the talented players out there.
Well, so it's still a while for that yet. You've still got this big little tournament to come in the summer.
Yeah. I gotta keep it. I gotta be able to play at least a few months, and then we'll see after the summer what I do.
I mean, in terms of the Euros, obviously that's the big story for Finnish football forever, really. And I remember I heard a lot of interviews with you. I mean, it was on the BBC and the Guardian before the Liechtenstein game. How hard was it to keep focused? And everyone was getting carried away before the game and assuming it's only Liechtenstein, but you still had to turn up and you still had to play, and they obviously aren't going to turn up and roll over. What was that like, trying to mentally get ready for that game?
Yeah, I think that was the challenge, because we knew that on paper and on the pitch we were going to be the better team. But I think the challenge was to stay focused on the things that we could influence, because everybody noticed that outside the it was almost a party already. Everybody expected us to win. Everybody expected us to qualify, and that's I think that's really dangerous if you get taken away by that as a player. So we just concentrating on doing the stuff right on the pitch, preparing ourselves physically and mentally, and having a game plan ready. So I think we did that extremely well, and just shows how much the team has matured during the last few years.
I think the last time I went to a Finland home game, it was Miksu Patalainen's last game, and did you lose to Hungary? I think it was.
Yeah.
And I remember the atmosphere there. There weren't that many people. I mean, there were probably fewer people at the Olympia Stadion than there were at the Sonair or whatever it's called today. I mean, just the change there. And I didn't get to go to the game in November, but I must say my friend Keke, who does the podcast as well, he was one of the people who held you up after the game. There was a big picture of him in this month's UEFA magazine holding you by the leg, and he says he's sorry if he pinched you. So.
Yeah, I think I know who Keke is, and I mean that picture is just legendary. I mean, I will always bear with me that picture in in my head when I get older. I mean, it was such a crazy experience. But that was cool that he was there on the pitch as well.
Because it was one of those things, he managed to get a ticket and fly over from the UK, and some of the stories. I mean, he's managed to get tickets for all the group games as well for the Euros, which is luckier than a lot of people. Are you aware of the demand for tickets? I know that Copenhagen and St. Petersburg they're about as close as you can get really to Finland. But have you been following the stories about the ticket sort of updates and applications?
I do. I mean, my friends were waiting eagerly yesterday, and they, I think almost all of them didn't get tickets. So that's really frustrating, you know. So I'm gonna try and do my best to help some of them now. But it was, I mean, that was really hard to watch when they were like. I mean, we have our own WhatsApp group where we joke and have fun. But yesterday they were a little bit distraught because of the answers they were getting, you know. I
mean, I did see, I suppose, if it's of any help, apparently Belgium only asked for about 600 tickets for that game. So hopefully some of those might become available.
Yeah, let's hope so.
I only put in for the Denmark game in Copenhagen because I'm going to a few other games in the tournament with my friend. But yeah, I suppose I'd probably feel quite bad if I took a ticket from someone who'd been going for 20 years. But I'm sure anywhere will be a good atmosphere, and any excuse was it St. Petersburg? It's on Johannes, I think, that game, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, so it'll be an almighty experience.
It will be.
Have you had any involvement in sort of the preparation at this point? I know it's still a few months away, but I know the training camp's been chosen and anything like that. Have you had any say in anything to do with that?
Yeah, I mean, we're already at the beginning of January, we're discussing I mean, everything about the training setup in St. Petersburg. What do we need? What kind of bikes do we need in the gym? What kind of equipment? How is it going to look like? How are we traveling from Tampere, the last game before the Euros, to St. Petersburg? So all these logistics, all this stuff. So I'm heavily involved, and I like to be that. I like to be that as well, because I want my teammates and the team to have all the necessary stuff and feel that it's a professional environment that we come to. So it's important that we get it right. We did like an email interview. I think it was about 6 years ago now, and you talked about when you played at the under-21 Euros in 2009. Obviously now things have changed slightly, but have you any thoughts about, and this is something, living in England, and we deal with that at the World Cups, England have always made complaints about being bored, and talking about bringing, PlayStations and everything else. Is that something you've considered? Yeah, I mean, we will definitely. We're definitely aware that it might actually be a very long stay, and a long time that we're together. So I think we need to be prepared for everything, and we'll try to do our best to make sure that we don't get bored. I mean, we've always had like this game room when we're away in Tampere, for example, these last few games, where people can hang out, they can play table tennis or PlayStation or whatever they want. So I think it's important to notice that it's all these extra activities, all these things that we can do outside the trainings and the games are extremely important to the team spirits of the group. So we're looking into that as well, and I'm gonna call my good friend Andreas Granqvist, the Swedish captain, and ask him for some advice as well, because he's taken part in a couple of championships. So I'm looking forward to hear some of his thoughts, and maybe we don't make some of the easy mistakes that maybe a nation does when they go to these championships for the first time. I suppose it can be overwhelming, I guess, but so following a lot of, everything on when you watch a tournament on English TV, even if, and this is the novelty for me, is because I didn't get a ticket for a game, the Finland-Denmark game will be on British TV on a Saturday evening. It's just be ridiculous. I don't have to watch it on my laptop. I don't have to try and find a dodgy stream somewhere. Yeah.
I know immediately as soon as the halftime whistle goes, they'll be right off to the England camp because that's what they do. But it'd be a massive novelty, and I know there's a couple of pubs over here that are owned by Finns, and the atmosphere here in those places will be pretty kicking.
Yeah,
but,
definitely.
Yeah, I think we'll probably have to have a barbecue here. I think, and the girls have got Finland tops already. So.
Wow.
So, well, one also has a cup shirt, but I'm not sure what your opinions on that are.
So she's jumped on that bandwagon as well.
Well, she has been to Kuopio, and I guess that's where her mum's from. So.
Okay. Then it's understandable. Yeah.
And one other thing we were going to ask about the Finland team, and I can't remember, it was Keke again. With the languages, I mean, obviously Swedish is your sort of native language, but we think about the integration of players from different backgrounds, and now you've got, say, Glenn Kamara, for example, who's come in. I mean, I guess English is his sort of chosen language.
I think Glenn prefers to speak English. But I mean, his Finnish is also really good. I'm not sure why he chooses to speak English, because his Finnish is better than mine. So it's not really an issue. But yeah, I mean, I really found it inspiring to be in this kind of mix. Different cultures, different backgrounds, different languages. So that's really been cool to be a part of.
And one thing, I don't know, have you had a conversation with Will Jaskalainen in English, because he has the very, very obvious northern accent. Bear in mind where he's grown up. It's great. It's great to watch videos of him talking.
Okay, I don't think I've ever met him actually. So I haven't had that pleasure yet, but I'm looking forward to it now.
Okay. One thing Mark asked was, obviously you've played under several coaches now. Was it Stuart Baxter gave you your debut, wasn't it?
Yes.
And we've gone through sort of him and Mixu and Hans Backer. Is there anything under Mr. Kanerva that is obviously different, or is it just a combination of things? I mean, obviously everyone works hard and everything has come together right, but is there an obvious change in perhaps the team spirit, the things that you can't necessarily see?
Yeah, I mean, that's a very good question, because it's definitely subjective feeling because it's hard to measure. I mean, of course you can look at our results as being great, but I think what our coaching staff has done, that they've given us a lot of responsibility, which I personally like. They're also a good mix of personalities. You have Kanerva and Martin, who's maybe more calm and collected and analytical in their approach, and then you have Nurmela, who's more that straightforward type of a person, who's very, very passionate, very dedicated. So I think that mix of personalities in the coaching staff has also been a revelation. But it's I don't know. It's just that all these different personalities coming together and playing for something that is bigger than themselves. No matter if you're sitting on the bench or if you're out, you always want the best for the players playing in your position. You always want the best for the team. And it's a very unselfish group of players, and it's very pleasant to be a part of that kind of group. But I mean, it's credit to the coaching staff for creating that kind of environment and giving us responsibility and not it's definitely not a dictatorship, if you know what I mean, because we're always involved in the decision making process, and that makes it really, really motivating for us.
And I guess there's some continuity for a lot of the players, because Kanerva's been he was your coach at the under-21 tournament, wasn't he?
Yeah.
So we're talking over a decade now of sorry if that makes people feel old, but that he's been involved in the Finland setup for that long, that maybe it's obviously not just him, but bringing something that you can't just bring in a coach, drop him in and suddenly decide off you go and change everything. Obviously from the outside it suggests that some continuity and knowing both the players and the environment for that long brings benefits that you can't buy.
Yeah, it does. I mean, continuity in football is not very common. So it feels nice when you turn up for a national team game and you see those same faces. I mean, is it then Kanerva or is it, you know, the people in the backroom staff? You know, we have had our physiotherapist and people, you know, working behind the scenes. They've been there for decades. So it's really nice to have that continuity in the national team, because, you know, we all know the realities of football, that you know, coaches usually change quite fast.
And the last sort of question about that, and I think it goes back to the previous interview we did, and it was before the Euro 2016 qualifiers started, and I think you said more teams qualifying means it's a bigger chance for everyone, and even the smaller teams now have a realistic chance. Now, the change in the tournament structure means that so many teams qualify now, but you look at the group that Finland qualified out of, I mean, you had strong teams. I mean, you had Greece, who won the thing not that long ago. Bosnia at a World Cup quite recently. Do you feel that there's some confidence that even if it was a 16-team tournament, there might have been a very good chance you'd have gone for it?
Well, I mean, I think it's either way. It's a very difficult thing to qualify. I mean, it's the competition for European Championship or World Cup is just extraordinary, and you need to do something special to be able to qualify. I felt that in our group there were at least 2, maybe 3 teams that were better than us than on paper, and I think I said that before the game started as well. I mean, partly just to, you know, put some of the pressure off our shoulders, but I was being honest then. Yeah, I mean, it's given us some confidence for sure, beating teams like Bosnia and Greece, because we all know how good those teams usually are. I mean, qualifying to only a 16-team tournament, that would be extremely hard, and something that was maybe out of reach. But with this team, you know, they keep surprising me. So you never know where we might end up, and I mean, I'm just looking forward to go to the Euros and surprise some people, because right now I don't think anybody expects us to do anything out of the ordinary, and especially no one in Denmark. You know, every Danish fan in this country, you know, expects 3 easy points for the Danes in the opening game. So I'm just very eager to go and show how good we really are.
I suppose the obvious comparison would be Iceland 4 years ago.
Yeah,
who got to the quarterfinals.
Yeah, I mean, Iceland is definitely an inspiration, and I'm just happy about, you know, the Nordic countries qualifying. We got Denmark, Sweden, Finland, and we might get another team to the Euros. So that just shows that, you know, the discipline and the mentality we have in the north, it produces results.
And I suppose as well, it's probably, are you glad you don't have to go to Baku?
Yeah, that would. I mean, I'm mostly glad for our fans and supporters. I mean, that would have been a very long trip and logistically maybe a nightmare. So I think this is best both for the team and the supporters. So I'm just hoping for a football party in the summer, both on and off the pitch.
Well, talking about Denmark, obviously, you won the Danish Cup last year and came second in the league. You know, it's your contract's up this summer, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
Okay, I won't go into. There's people who speculate and everything else. Don't start any rumours or gossip. But having been in Denmark now for nearly 6 years, I mean, do you speak Danish well?
Yeah, I mean, my native tongue is Swedish, so it was quite easy to learn Danish as well. But I speak a combination of Swedish and Danish, but people understand me and I can understand them, so that's the main thing.
Yeah, I suppose this season, I guess going for the title again's the objective. Definitely.
I mean, we're fighting against FC Copenhagen. We have I think 4-point gap down to FCK, so that's definitely our goal for the season to be champions again. And I mean, 6 years ago when I came to the club had never won a trophy. It's a very young club, but since then it's been amazing, and you know, being part of a winning team, having a chance to actually win something, that's also part of football. So I'm glad that I got to experience that part as well.
And the owners of Midtjylland also own Brentford. Was that ever an option for you to come over here and go to Brentford?
I don't think it's been a possibility. I mean, I got nothing against Brentford or the Championship. Usually, when I'm over in London, I go to a Brentford game, and you know they take really good care of me. Cliff Crown and Rasmus Ankesen and the big boys. So I'm very grateful that I've been able to come and watch their team play. And I would almost say that after my favorite club, Manchester United, Brentford is probably the team that I support.
Okay, and where does Southampton rank in that?
Oh, Southampton is also, they must be a top 3 club as well.
Do you still follow their results?
Yeah, I do. I mean, I don't watch that much football anymore. But if I watch a game, I try to watch Southampton as well, because they still have a big place in my heart, and I enjoyed 3.5 years as a young player in the South Coast, and I'm really, you know, again, thankful for what they did for me and how they developed me as a footballer and as a person. It was a big step to take when I was 16 years old, but it was all worth it, and I wouldn't change anything about it. So it's definitely a club that I try to follow, and every time when I go in on live score to check on the results, it's one of the clubs that I try to keep an eye out for.
And I guess there's a few players from that Youth Cup team you might have a reunion with. I guess maybe Bale or Lallana in the summer. I'm not sure about Walcott these days.
Yeah, it was a crazy group of players. If you think how well they've done, I think they usually say that 1 or 2 players from an age group makes it professionally, but I think we had a bit of a better record back then. I mean, of course, Bale, Lallana, Walcott are maybe the ones that have made it the furthest, but I mean, besides them, it's another 6, 7, 8 players that have played in the Premier League. So it was a really talented group of players.
Yeah, I remember meeting Theo Walcott very briefly after he signed for Arsenal. So it would be in 2006, and just, I mean, scary how young he was. I guess I'd have been about 10 years older than him then, and that was, I think he got taken along to when Arsenal played in the Champions League semi-final in Villarreal, and he was there with the team, and we met him very briefly. It was just, he seemed like, it's like he was the mascot almost, but I mean, he obviously did very well, but yeah, he had that raw speed that you so desperately need in football these days, and it was fun to be on the same pitch as him and see him develop and see what kind of qualities he had. I think he got a chance in the first team quite early. I think he played as a striker back then as well, and you know, nobody could follow him. He was small and he was lanky, but you know, just because of his speed, he could get past players like no one else. And one other player you mentioned when we talked about Southampton before, who's gone on to do quite well, Dusan Tadic.
Yeah.
He's linked with Barcelona this week. Do you still speak to him regularly?
No, not really. I mean, we have some contact on social media, but yeah, he's. I think he's one of the few that has inspired me because of his work ethic. He's really a role model when it comes to being professional and training 100%. He never took any shortcuts, and he's worked his socks off to play at that level. I didn't know about the Barcelona rumor, but that would be fantastic for him if he got that chance.
Yeah, I suppose he's done so well at Ajax. Then it's that time of year. It's the end of January as we're speaking now. So yes, one of those.
Yeah.
Well, I won't take up too much more of your time. One more thing. I know you're going away tomorrow, and never having played at anywhere near your sort of level, do you have to pack your own shin pads for these trips?
Yeah, I do. I mean, we get sometimes I feel bad because this bubble that we live in as footballers, it's a bit too much, and we get catered for like no one else. So I try to communicate that to my teammates as well, that I appreciate how well we are right now. I appreciate how much the kit man is doing for us and the coaches are doing for us, because it's not always going to be like that, especially not when you quit football and then start a new career. But yes, we are packing our own shin pads and our own shoes, but the rest is taken care of, and I look forward to 10 days where you can just focus on the football part, and you get everything catered for you. You have the fantastic hotel, good food, good facilities, so it's going to be a good time to maybe get the tactics sorted out and get everybody on the same page.
Well, I hope you do really well in the summer. Obviously, I'll be supporting Finland the best I can, and from here anyway, and I know the guys will be out there, and there'll be hopefully the best atmosphere of the tournament. Also, the Nations League is back again this year, and fingers crossed if Finland draw, I think they can draw either one of the Ireland teams or Wales. So
okay,
if that's an away trip, then I'll definitely be there as well.
Perfect. I'm looking forward to your support. It's gonna be interesting to see what kind of teams we're gonna be up against.
Tim, thank you very much for coming and donating your time and support, and really best of luck for the summer and everything else.
Thank you very much, Rich. I appreciate it.
Go ahead. Enjoy Dubai.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
All right. Take care.